Hey guys, what's up? My name is Anthony. Welcome to another edition of B&A Sports Talk, and I'm in a new place. I just moved to college, and I'm getting settled down in my new place. I really could have recorded over the past couple of days, but I didn't feel like it because I've been a little bit lazy. But today, what I want to talk about is the top five quarterback leaders as far as passing yards that I believe are going to happen. Now, why is this important? One, fantasy. I have my fantasy draft. And, I did a little bit of research who are going to be the top quarterbacks. And obviously, you want to draft quarterback probably in the 4th, 5th round. Some people wait till the 7th because there isn't much of a difference. But you have guys like Lamar Jackson. But we're not talking about fantasy. We're talking about the guys that are going to be the top 5 in passing yards. We're not talking about the top 5 quarterbacks. In fact, usually the top 5 leaders in passing yards aren't the top quarterbacks. Sometimes you get a Ben Roethlisberger. You got a Patrick Mahomes a few years ago. They just go insane. But usually it isn't the top quarterbacks. Like, namely, last year you had Jared Goff. You had Matt Ryan, who people think is top 5. I don't think he's there anymore. When coming up with this list, I was like, who are going to be the bad quarterbacks? First, my honorable mentions. Let's do them first. So, Big Ben, he said he is dealing with pain in his elbow ever since 2005, 2006, because I'm extrapolating. He said 13, 14 years he's been dealing with pain in his elbow. You have all those receivers. We all know, Deontay, I forget his name. Everyone knows the guy, James Washington. They just drafted Chase Claypool, and they also have that, the slot wide receiver. But I just don't trust the offensive line this year that much. I think that the Steelers may struggle. I have them in the AFC Championship just because of that leadership and just because of that drive that the defense has. But I don't think the Steelers offense is going to be as prolific as some people are saying. So, Big Ben. Also, with an honorable mention on my list is Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan is going to be down in a bunch of games, and he's usually up there on these types of lists. So, you obviously can't rule him out. The Falcons, I think, are going to be like a 7-9 fringe team, something like that. So, I don't really believe that in them that much. And so he's on my honorable mentions. Also have Jared Goff. Now this offense, Van Jefferson, there's a lot of hype behind him. You got rid of Todd Gurley. You don't really have a pass catching running back anymore. Cam Akers didn't really do that for FSU. I don't believe Darrell Henderson is going to really explode this year. So that's Jared Goff. But they're going to be down in a lot of games. I think they're a 7-9 team, like the Falcons. And then Carson Wentz, he doesn't really have a lot of weapons. And I think that offensive line may struggle a little bit. I don't think Carson Wentz is a top 5 passer in this league. I think that he's going to do just enough to win some games, and they're going to be around 9 wins, but I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up being a top 5 guy. Kirk Cousins, similar story to a Jared Goff. I like the coach, decent enough, but they lost a lot of weapons, and I don't trust anybody really besides Adam Thielen on this roster. Do we think a rookie Justin Jefferson is going to come in and explode in the league? I'm not too sure. I think he was in a great scenario last year. I'm not sure how much he fits in this offense. So, there's that. So, let's get on to my top 5 quarterback yards list. Number 5 is Russell Wilson. I really think he's going to explode this year as far as passing yards because, one, they're going to be down in a lot of games. Now, they have a great defense that can keep them in it, but I think what's going to happen is that their rush defense is really going to struggle. Their pass defense is really going to struggle, especially in the beginning of the year. I think that they're going to really be at a disadvantage, even though they have some continuity at coach. I think that they're really going to struggle. Russell Wilson's going to be aimed to throw the ball a lot. He's even said, I want to throw the ball more. You have Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf. I really like Freddie Swain. And not much else to write home about as far as wide receiver, but I think that Russell Wilson, with Will Disley, he feels like he has a great connection with tight ends. He's going to be top there. And plus, I think Seahawks are an 8-8 team. And people are like, oh, you don't think they're going to be better than last year? You think it'll be worse than last year? They were an 8-8 win team last year, and I don't trust their health of their running backs and Chris Carson, so I think he's going to be trusted to pass the ball a whole bunch more. Next is Matt Stafford. Now, I think that the Lions could win the division by default because the Bears, I don't trust Nick Foles. Nick Foles is apparently winning the QB competition, but I'm like, he's good in spots. He's not good to be a starter. He's good to fill in that sort of role where it's just not reliant on him. So I think that the Lions may win it by default, but I think Matt Stafford, take a look at his first 8 games last year. He was on pace for 5,000 yards pretty much. He was on pace for 4,998. So, if he, second year of this offense, people forget, it was the first year of that offense last year with a running game, with a guy who likes to run the ball a lot, a guy from Seattle. But you have DeAndre Swift, but I think that, they lost some guard help, so they're going to be throwing the ball a little bit more than last year. And, they're really going to rely on Matt Stafford, who a lot of people are saying, they should get rid of him. I said, trade him. Why not? Get another pick for Matt Stafford, but, I didn't realize the contract was that massive. Next is Tom Brady. He's going to be like a Jameis Winston. That type of thing. I don't love their running game. You bring in LaShawn McCoy, but like, do I really trust the running game? No. You lost to Peyton Barber, and do I trust Ronald Jones? No. So I think Tom Brady's gonna have a lot of yards. We all know about the wide receivers. Bruce Arians, they're gonna be throwing deep. I think he's gonna be near 5,000 yards. Like, I'll have like all the stats on the screen. I think he's gonna be around 4,800. And if the Buccaneers struggle a little bit, I definitely can see that being bumped up a little bit more because you're going to rely on Tom Brady throwing a little bit more. I think you can include him on high interceptions. I may make a complete other video talking about, just passing touchdowns and interceptions, the leaders I think there. I think Tom Brady could have up to like 15 interceptions based on this Bruce Arians offense that throws the ball down the field a little bit. They're going to, obviously mesh to Tom Brady's strengths, but that could be a problem there. Number 2 is Patrick Mahomes. I think they're going to be 12-4, so he's not going to be throwing a whole bunch. You have Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who's a good threat out of the backfield, not amazing, but really, really solid. You have great wide receiver weapons, and they don't really have good running backs besides Edwards-Helaire. You got rid of Damian Williams, and Andy Reid doesn't really like to run the ball. That Andy Reid system doesn't really like to do that. You see with Matt Nagy and things like that. And you have amazing wide receivers on this team. Sammy Watkins taking a pay cut. All these guys that have been sticking around. Travis Kelce with his new deal. Tyreek Hill, I think he got a new deal. No, I'm not too sure. But, we all know the weapons there. I think Kansas City is going to be winning in a lot of games. But you can't really have a sustained run game because you don't really have that running back. Are you going to save Clyde Edwards-Helaire, or are you just going to run him till he dies, pretty much, because, you're winning in a bunch of games. I think they may try to blow a bunch of teams out. That means a lot of passing yards from Patrick Mahomes. But number 1 has to be a Dak Prescott. And by a Dak Prescott, I mean Dak Prescott. I don't know why I had to say a Dak Prescott. Because you're in a Mike McCarthy system. He's had Aaron Rodgers, and they threw the ball a lot. So this year we were like, oh, Aaron Rodgers, something's off, because they weren't passing a lot. Obviously with Aaron Rodgers, they didn't have a great run game before Aaron Jones came. You had Eddie Lacy for like a year or two. But, he didn't really have much. I think they're going to, pass the ball a lot. CeeDee Lamb, they have all the weapons. And especially if Dallas becomes Dallas and they start losing games, you're going to have Dak Prescott throw. I think he was number 2, number 3 in yards last year. He's in a contract year, so he's going to want to prove it. Does he want to stay in Dallas? I'm not too sure, but he's primed for a bunch of yards. I put money on Dak Prescott to win the passing yard leader. I also put some money on a Matt Stafford because I can also see the Lions having a great season like that. It's kind of weird because a lot of teams I picked in my video to be successful. I had Dallas winning the division, actually making the NFC Championship. I had the Buccaneers, I think winning a playoff round, and I had some other players advancing too on this list. Obviously, I had Patrick Mahomes winning, one round. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see what happens here. And this is my list. Let me know if you guys agree, disagree, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.